We're going to use an array and a for loop to create a whole bunch of different variables that store random numbers. So instead of entering the data into an array manually, we're going to use a for loop to make it really efficient. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make an array that doesn't have any values in it. We just have to establish the name of the array and its size. It needs to be a float type data type because random numbers are float data types also. And then I guess I'm just going to say R for now for random equals new float. And then in these square brackets is where I'm going to put the size. So I'm going to say 100. So this array doesn't have any values in it yet. The values have not been initialized, but it's 100 variables, R0, R1, all the way up through R99. I'm going to use active mode here. So I'm going to say void setup, void draw. I'll give us a size. I'll give us a background. We're going to give the values to the variables in the array in setup because we only want the variables to be assigned to the values to be assigned to the variable one time in setup. If we assigned the values to the variable in draw, it would happen 60 times a second, which is not what we want. We want them to have that variable and have that variable stay. So I'm going to make a for loop int I equals 0. I is less than 100 because there's 100 items in this array. I plus plus. And in here, I want to say the first time we go through the loop, we want to give R0 a random value. Then the second time, R1 a random value. And the third time, R2. I could, without a for loop, if I didn't want to use a for loop, I could literally say R0 equals random 0 to 500, random value between 0 and 500. R1 equals random 0 to 500. That is not efficient, which is why we're using the loop. So in the loop, instead of saying R0, R1, and so forth up through R99, we're going to use that local variable that variable that's local to the for loop, as a placeholder. So if I say I, the first time this loop goes through, I is 0. So it'll assign a value to R0. Then the second time, I will be 1. So it'll give a random value to R1. The third time through, it'll be 2, and so on and so forth, all the way up to R99. So this will happen 100 times, giving each one of these variables, R0, R1, R2, R3, a value that's random between 0 and 500. Important note of distinction. I is counting just 0 through 99. That's the value of I. Ri is the those members of the array. There are 100 different variables. This is just a shortcut so I don't have to write out R0, R1, R2, R3 by subbing in this integer variable I. Okay, so now if I run this, I've assigned all these values, but nothing's happened. We've got 100 random numbers now. What can we do with them? In class, somebody suggested we text them out. So again, I could say text R0 at 250, 500. You could see that first random value. There it is. And then, I could do another one. Change the Y value, though, so they're not on top of each other. We get 2 of them. And I could keep doing this, but that is also not efficient. So again, we want to use a loop. So I'm going to say it's the same exact loop actually. I want it to happen 100 times. Just copying and pasting. Forget to close your bracket. I'm going to say text Ri. Now if I put them at a static place, I'm going to get 100 random numbers all on top of each other. And I can't see them, so I want to space them out. I'm going to space them out a little bit vertically. I can use that value I if I wanted to. I could say, if I said I, now this is getting closer, but then they're only spaced 1 pixel apart, so we still can't read them. So we want to use a multiplier and a constant. if I multiply it by 12, this is fine. I'm not going to see all of the numbers because the last number will be down near 1,200. So it's not a perfect system. I'd have to make the screen a lot bigger, but that's the idea. The other thing I could use is I already have 100 random numbers. I could space them out randomly. I could say I could say Ri, and they'd be spaced out randomly vertically. Or I could space them out. Let's do randomly horizontally, and vertically I could use I and a multiplier. Now as I play, I've got each of these random numbers has its x value, its x location is the same as the random number itself. So 9 is at 9 pixels over, 14 is at 14 pixels over, 159 is at 159 pixels over, and so on and so forth. And vertically, they're spaced by I times 5. So this one that's way up here is probably, it has a value, if I probably is 1, because it's at 5 pixels down. So they're spaced vertically according to their place in the array, not the value that it's holding, but its place in the array, if it's place 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth. That's just a quick introduction to making random numbers. I will make a second part of this video.